Lay down one night, speaking softly about that old man. Got that tango, hit that boogie, got that tango, hit that.
Hey guys, I guess it's 2:05. Sorry, you heard me jamming out to some music and answering emails. Whew, man, what a day it's been. Even my hair is not cooperating. Another masterpiece piece theater. It's almost famous. We're going to have to get you some more Moss lines, Robert. What's up, E-Rim? We all love you too, man. Hey, Wayne, welcome to the chat. Always good to have a band hammer on board. Oh, man. What's up, Juan? Man, anymore, it's like I go live and just people start climbing in. I'm glad you guys find this useful. Well, Wayne, I'm happy to have you here, man. It's always good. Speaking of, oh, shoot. I missed my appointment with a tattoo artist yesterday and completely forgot to message him and let him know that I would not be back or not up there yet. Give me a second to message him because he's one of my chef's tattoo artists, and that's how I got in with him. And the guy's awesome. All right. I got him messaged, so maybe that'll be easier. Well, Doug, I'm glad that Geico saved you hundreds. You could have saved even more by going through my father at A+. Oceanair, welcome to the chat. And Cadaver, the hacker. I like that name. Saltine Cracker. I have a tattoo of a freckle. You're kidding me, right? Did you really get a freckle tattoo? Because that would be awesome. Though, I've heard of women getting that. Not men. I guess I've always just assumed you were a man. Maybe you are a woman. Saltine Cracker could be a woman's name. Arwood said, hello from I have an issue making life culture. What I found to be the best way to do it on the internet, but it seems to not work properly. Do you have any suggestions? Arwood, I don't understand what you mean. You're going to have to clarify and get back to me. David, hi, doing Mossback. Hello from Ireland. Fantastic program. Love your videos. Thank you, David. Welcome. Glad to have an Irish person on board. Someone from my old country. Rather, I mean, I don't know. I've been told I look more like a Scot than an Irishman. I'm Scots-Irish. That would technically make me like an Ulster Scot, which I guess would be Scottish people that lived in Ireland. But my Nana's family is the Sullivans, which would be Irish, right? So, I don't know. I'm a weird mutt like most Americans. What's up, Scott? Welcome to the chat. Wander. Hey, Mossy, I was trying to find your profile on Grindr. What's your profile name? Big Daddy Mushroom. Check me out. I'm what they call a sloppy bear, apparently. You're welcome, Cadaver. Saltine, I'm a dude. Okay, I assume so. Where's your freckle at? Or are you messing with me? Because that happens a lot. People mess with me all the time. Watch out for the Guinness virus. The Guinness virus would be like the Irish virus, basically. The beer virus. What's up, Dominic? Glad to have Quebec in. Let's see. I guess that would just be bonjour, right? Bonjour. What's a good resource on sectoring agar dishes? So in the future, one of my videos will be, one of my future videos very soon. I think I have a video on sectoring already. Let's see. Melanie just did a blog post. If you go on mosscreekmushrooms.com to our blog, you will find a blog post. One of the most recent blog posts was on how to sector cultures, and that links back to a video that I did. So that would be a good place to go. Love it. I'm such a bear. I've been told that a lot. I've gotten hit on a lot and been called Big Bear and Big Daddy Bear and all that stuff a lot. So, I mean, whatever. It's all flattery. Let's see. Hi. So when I put a mushroom into the live culture, now, so when you put a mushroom into the live culture, I'm waiting for the mycelium to produce. For whatever reason, it doesn't happen. Okay. So is this on an agar? Is this in liquid culture? Is this in where is this at? You're going to have to give me a whole lot more information on that. Have you tried Ormus monatomic gold? No. Ormus monoatomic gold. Monoatomic gold. I have not tried anything of the like. I don't even know what it's for, but I have it pulled up here, so I will take a look at it later. What's up, Andrew? From Andrew. Wonder wants to know what Geico is. It's an insurance company here in the States. Mainly auto insurance. They may do property too. I don't remember. My dad, I think, sold them for a while. My dad owns an agency, and he's like a mercenary. You know, he sells through a bunch of different companies. Robert Webster says, do you think in Wisconsin it is profitable to sell to chefs, or would you just have to grow for yourself? So, Robert, I would need more information on that, but I think there are different ways to make profits in growing mushrooms in a lot of different ways. You know, selling cultures is a good way to go. If you have to mail stuff and export it, spawn. I've seen several guys start off doing spawn and get big on it. I don't know what your nearest metro is. So, you know, if you're close to a metro and a good one, then it should be pretty easy to make a good living. Because Knoxville's not a big metro, guys. Knoxville, you got to think about it. Knoxville, Tennessee has a population of, let's see, the population, it's only like 100,000. Let's see, 187,347 is Knoxville. Lexington in Kentucky is 321,000, and Chattanooga, which is, I've been there. It's not a terribly large town. It's 179,000, so it's basically the same size as Knoxville. So I don't know what your nearest metro is, but so you said Wasau and Eau Claire are probably 100 or 12,000 or more. So I mean, I would look at restaurants. In my experience, you only need like maybe 10 restaurants to take a case a week, and you're making a pretty decent chunk of income. So Bearded Bull says, got my order. Love the mug and cultures. Hey, man, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, dude. Let's see. Did it say Bearded Bull? It's on there. I don't remember seeing that one. But I do remember there are very few orders that I've gotten for liquid cultures and mugs. It tends to be mugs or liquid cultures, which, guys, I think we've only got one blue mug left. So I'm going to have to see if I can get those guys to make some more. But it takes them a long time to make them because they've got to make them, cure them, and then glaze them, and then kiln dry them, and do all that stuff. But Bearded, I'm glad that you like it, man. Made me happy. Tarek says, hey, Mossy, love your stuff from Northern Canada by Alaska. Nice. Thank you very much, man. I just sent off a crap ton of packages to Alaska. Maybe they're buying for you and sneaking it across the border or something. Care to grow. Good day, sir. Well, good day to you. Tarek, probably butchering your name, man. If I am, I'm sorry. In one of your videos, you said you mix substrate after boiling. How do you do this? I'm dry bagging and want to improve my mixing efficiency. So you just dry bag and then don't mix it. You cook it. And then the only time you're mixing it is when you put the spawn in and you mix the spawn in. Then everything gets mixed up at once. Dominic says, wanted to thank you for that video on liquid culture, syringe cloning. Got a great clone of lions made that way. Hey, dude, I never thought the Hericiums would work that well, but I've done comb tooth and bear's head that way, and they work better than almost anything I've come across so far. The gold oyster did really well because it's got that big core, and then the king oysters seem to do really well. But yeah, I'm glad that it helped. Man, I really enjoyed your liquid culture videos. Thanks for making it. Yeah, absolutely, Care to Grow. I'm glad that it works. Arwood says liquid. Going up to, okay, when you put mushroom into the live culture, so are you putting the whole mushroom, or are you just putting a piece of mushroom? Really sit down and describe your process if you can, and or email it to me at mossycreekmushrooms@gmail.com. I might be able to answer it then, but you know, a lot of times if I have to sit there and I'm having a hard time, like if you don't describe your process and I can't answer it easily, that's typically a question for a consult kind of stuff. And I'm happy to answer it here if we can. Just describe it for me. Like, what was your process, so I've got some information to work off of on how to. Oh, it looks like you are doing that. Okay. No, wait a minute. Where are you? I went up too high. Okay, so here's the thing about liquid culture. If you put it in liquid culture and you don't have good filtration for your air, you're going to get it bacterial. You're going to have a bad time. If you French fry when you pizza, you're going to have a bad time. No, sorry, it's a South Park reference. If you put the whole mushroom into your liquid culture, it's going to contaminate. It's going to get yeasty or bacterial. That, in my experience, yeast and bacteria are the worst in liquid culture. I have a harder time with mold in dishes and yeast and bacteria in my liquid culture. And that usually comes from not very good technique or terrible filtration. It also can come from the type of lids you're using. If you're using a white lid with no rubber gasket, you're probably going to get yeast that way. So, got the bulk LC in the mail. Stoked to get a snow oyster. Does it grow better? Yeah, so I'm sorry about the gold oyster, guys. The gold oyster, you guys have run me out of that. So I had to pull from something that was a little weaker. Yeah, I tested it. It's still growing. But, yeah, the snow goose oyster, man. That snow goose, it's wish I had a picture of it. It is pretty commonly getting this little feathered look on the top when it's introduced to humidity. And it's really neat little version of the snow oyster. All I did was it's an isolate from snow oysters. But, man, it does like cold weather. So grow it while you've got cold weather. Put it into storage when you don't. You can put it in the refrigerator for a while. So I'm glad you liked it, Dylan. Oceanair's awesome, bro. Thank you. And, of course, you have covered it already. Lola should have checked first. Oh, no worries, man. Anything that I cover on these live streams, I'm happy to cover again. I'm here for like a set amount of time. So we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. We can talk about my personal life. We can talk about mushrooms. We can talk about your personal life. I mean, I'm happy to just do whatever. I'm just chilling, drinking my my swamp juice, and yeah, hanging out with you guys. This is basically a 2-hour lunch break for me. So, Wander says, "Can we see a sample box of your shrooms that leave for perspective of clients interested in the box container and presentation of quality mushrooms?" So I think Samantha ran off with our last box. We had about 250 pounds go out today. So if you want, I can go look and see if we have a box. We do not. We are completely out of mushrooms. So we sold out today. But if you look at my YouTube channel, there are picking videos and videos where we've picked and have our boxes in there. Sup, Salty? Where Michael Mom? Is she okay? I don't know. Last I heard, she was okay. I got this in the mail from Michael Mama. I'm hoping she gets on here. She sent me this cool little thing. It is, she makes glass. And so she sent me this, and then she sent Samantha one too. So this will probably be my new replacement mushroom pendant for a little while. But I really like it. She says she thought of me specifically with this one. So kind of nice, right? I love that kind of stuff. I love wearing everybody else's swag. It's cool doing that stuff. Greetings from West Virginia. Well, greetings, West Virginia, from East Tennessee. Wasau and Eclair or Euclair are probably 12,000 or more. So I'm trying to figure out where those are. That's a pretty small town. Wonder if I can look that up. So something I've noticed with a lot of mushroom growers, and I'm not saying that you are this, is that they oftentimes are not willing to drive far enough to make a living growing mushrooms. Samantha's doing a 5-hour drive today, and it's not 5 hours to one place and back. She's hitting Knoxville, Maryville, Blount County, Sevierville, then back down to where we're at. But by the time it's not 5 hours of driving, but it's stopping, delivering, talking to chefs and things like that. But it is, you've got to be willing to drive to do this a lot of times. Okay, so you got, wow, okay. It really looks like, so you're a good ways away from Minneapolis, but you're not too far from Green Bay, doesn't look like. To Green Bay. So if we go to Green Bay, that's an hour and a half drive. That's nothing to go sell mushrooms. It's a long. It's hour and 40 minutes. I mean, you're getting closer to 2 hours there. That would suck. And then if you wanted to go to, I don't know, is that spelled Euclair or pronounced Euclair or Eclair? Or, that one is about the same distance from you. So you're looking at about a 2-hour drive no matter which way you go. And in the beginning, you're probably not going to make as best living as you could off that, but you can go and just recognize that you're going to take a loss in the beginning and then work your way there. But, I mean, a good way to go is to start with farmers markets. So just do 1 day a week doing your farmers market and allowing your chefs to come to you, selling, like reserving boxes for your chefs at the farmers market and giving them the boxes there. That's what we did. And then going from there. I will say Knoxville for us, it's about a 40-minute drive. So, but Blackberry, where we do about a third of our business, is about a 2-hour drive from us. So, yo, Mossy, you're a legend. Have you ever used... Oh, and it's gone. And it's gone. Let's just put that money in a joint IRA, and it's gone. I'm not completely lost. There we go. I need to start highlighting these. You're a legend. Have you ever used wheat distillers pellets or straw pellets? Also, so I have not. I have always wanted to get my hands on straw pellets. I don't know how expensive they are. I don't even know where to get them around me. But I have thought about going with that because I think straw is a great substrate for growing mushrooms. It's just the fact that if without infrastructure in place, using straw bales sucks. When are you planning to post the vid on your new bagger? Can't wait. So that is up to Ben, and Ben is overworked. So it may still be a couple months because, guys, we signed on the warehouse today, and I dropped the deposit today. So we're going to be really busy for the next few weeks and really tight and probably really stressed, but we're going to have it. And the bagger plans are coming, and they'll be, once we get in there, it'll be so much easier to get the bagger plans made because we'll be pumping baggers out for people. So, Care to Grow, how many blocks do you make a week to keep up with your restaurant orders? So between my restaurant and my block clients right now, which I don't have a lot of block clients, we're making like 390 to 400 blocks a week right now. You're welcome, Robert. When is Making Grain Spawn coming where you show how you pack load the PC? Thanks. So John Smith, there's already one on there about how to make grain spawn with liquid culture. And I think there's even one on how to expand grain spawn on my channel. If you look those up, it already shows me packing my PC. If you want one on how just a video on how to pack a PC, it'd be a very short video, but I could probably do it. But I mean, it's simple, man. I just put my blocks in upside down, fill the water to the top of that block. Then I have the flaps folded over, put 2 more blocks on top of that, 2 more blocks on top of that for the 5-pound grain blocks. Close the pressure cooker up and run it for 2.5 hours at 15 psi. But you can see it in that how to make grain spawn with liquid culture video. I go through how to cook grain spawn in that. Tyler Butts, how much respect from hey, oh sorry, oh my gosh. Oh. Hey, much respect from Saskatchewan, Canada. Just built my first basement grow room. I'm getting my first grow oven running. Hey, congratulations, man. That's awesome. The bug has bitten you, and you have started. But one of us. One of us. I have been thinking of your swamp self with mushrooms growing off your back. Would it be weird to say eat me if you did? That's okay. I'll have little things grazing on my back. That's fine. I'll just grow more swamp mushrooms. How do you mix after inoculation? I'm inoculating with liquid culture. Oh. So are you talking about grain spawn? Because I've never had good luck inoculating bulk substrate with liquid culture. I know people do it. I know it's more common in China than it is out here, and I don't know how they're doing it. I have some ideas, and Ben and I were talking about ideas last night. And if I figure it out, I'll let you guys know. So as far as that goes, I wouldn't mix after inoculating with liquid culture. I would just spray it down and let it grow in. Question: have you always sold your product coming out of your grow room solely, or have you done any outdoor seasonal growing as a bumper crop? I have done outdoors. I've done wine cap and shiitake outdoors. My thought is when you're the size of a tier 1 farm, doing shiitake outside makes sense because it's then bonus income. And that bonus income can add up a lot, particularly in the summertime when you're having a hard time with income, because summertime is always the hardest on your income. Holy Andrew, I done figured it out. Paul here. You figured what out? And Boomer's Farm. I like that name. Okay, Boomer. I'd be interested. What did you figure it out? LC anytime, any day. Yeah, Rich, I love LC. All-time favorite culture. Oh my gosh, guys, this is really hard because they're all my babies now. So of the ones you guys know about, my favorite one is the King Blue. Pathfinders is probably a very close second, but my Comb Tooth is a really good strain too. My all-time favorite for sentimental reasons is N&G, and that thing is probably the prettiest damn oyster I've ever seen. It looks so stately. Like I don't know how a mushroom can look stately, but sitting there growing on the block, it just looks so just formal and nice looking. It's a very savory mushroom too. So I mean, there you go, Mark. There's a few ideas. So yeah, as far as you guys, all the ones that you guys know of on the website, my favorites are King Blue. That was one of my creations, and that's probably why it's my favorite. But it's also just one of the most superior mushrooms I've ever seen. We did the Pathfinder, the Comb Tooth are really, really good. So those are my favorites. And then the N&G, because of the sentimental value, how beautiful it is, and the fact that it's got a completely different flavor profile. It's not like a real sweet anise smell to it like a lot of oysters. It's a savory oyster. It's very different. It doesn't have that sweet, sweet smell when you bust at the spawn. It's definitely more like savory smelling. Are your state running out of toilet paper also? Thankfully, no. Tennessee seems to be pretty, we seem to be pretty resilient so far. We're not freaking out yet. Bloomin' Boomin' says, how's it going, everybody? Well, as far as speaking from my perspective, everyone's doing okay. We got people over here fighting sinus infections. Not me, for once. Crazy. Stress, with the warehouse stuff, but good. Very, very good. Everything's exciting. We're about to launch off into the void with this warehouse. I can't wait to build a safe harbor and start extracting value from that void. Robert says, what was your prices on consultation? So if guy from Wisconsin wanted to get started and so you could lead him right direction for the price of the class. Okay, so Robert, I'll go ahead and announce it now. That's fine. So we do our phone consultation at $600. It's $200 for a 3-hour consult. I don't do any consults smaller than that. It's usually about 2 hours long, talking back and forth, and then about an hour. The last hour is for all the texting, emailing, and all that stuff that we're going to be doing while you're troubleshooting your farm. I do in-person consults. If you fly me out there, I'll do it for $1,000 to go out there for a couple of days. plus my room and board. Help you set up a farm. But that's usually like once you have a space and you're trying to set up a farm. And then if you're wanting, sorry guys, I've got like an itch on my face all of a sudden. And that's why I keep touching myself. The third way we're doing it is we haven't announced it yet on like any official channels, but you guys will be the first, I guess, to really hear about this. I think maybe I mentioned something about last week. We do a mentorship program where people can come down here for a week. That costs $1,000 for the week. You work alongside my crew. You do deliveries with me and Samantha. You meet our chefs. You learn some of the accounting stuff from Samantha. You learn the sales stuff from me. You can learn the liquid culture side if you want to. Any of the culture work that you want to do, we can go over that kind of stuff. That does not include room and board. So I know What the Fungus is like $2,000. I knocked $1,000 off because they include room and board and I don't. And looking at it, by the time you're looking at a hotel room and your food and everything else, I'll cover like Pal's lunch or something like that. Come on down. I'll get you a Pal's burger like that. You can get a little bit of taste of East Tennessee that way. It's peachy tea. But we're doing those, but I'm only doing 2 at a time. So, and I've already got people signing up for those. And so I probably need to get that listed up on the website. And then, the first guy we're doing actually will be the first week we move into the warehouse. So like next week. And he'll be down here for a week with us, learning the ropes during a build. So that's going to be cool. We're going to put his butt to work, which he's already told me he's not afraid of. So Robert, I hope that helps. Hey brother, last night I bought 4 cold to cool temperature strain culture plates from Brian Callow. I'm in Canada. Do you think the Blue King Oyster would do well in cooler weather? Yes, it loves cold weather, man. It's got one of the widest ranges of fruiting temps I've ever seen in an oyster. It does. I've seen that mushroom outside, freeze solid, thaw out, and keep growing. So that thing will grow in cold temps. And I've frozen the spawn, King Blue spawn. I stuck it in the freezer, froze it for 6 months, and then one set for a year. Brought it out, thawed it out for a day, and let it go, and it kept growing just fine. Excuse me. So it'll definitely handle the cool weather. It does suffer in the heat. It starts it is blotch susceptible once you get it above 75. So. Arwood says, sorry, I didn't explain it good enough. I'll email you. Appreciate you. Yeah, so, man, don't be sorry about it. It's perfectly fine. People find that all the time. Like, what it comes down to is a lot of times people don't have the language yet. It's not even the language. Like, how would you say that? They don't have the vocabulary built yet. So when we get into this, whenever I'm, like, having you do all that kind of stuff, for one thing, it makes it easier for me to answer the questions. And number 2, it's helping you build that vocabulary of how we ask these questions and how we go forward so that information flows as quickly back and forth as possible. So don't you worry about it, man. I didn't judge you. Like, not at all. Robert Charles, you make a 1-inch square in your bag. What if you would make 2 or 3 holes and it's necessary to remove the flaps if I make an X? Okay, so if you make an X, no, it's not necessary to remove the flaps. The 2 or 3 holes, there's basically a rough formula for getting your fruiting down. So let's say you have 12 pounds of substrate hydrated at a certain level. You know that your flush is going to be roughly 3 pounds, right? If you do 1 hole, you're going to have a 3-pound cluster. If you do 2 holes, you're going to have 2 1.5-pound clusters. And if you do 3 holes, you'll have 3 1-pound clusters. It's rough. It's never exact, but it's a good average to work from. So you should always get about the same amount. It's just about the size of the clusters, the shapes of the clusters, etc. So hope that helps. Sorry, that was the guy from a band is letting us use their music in our upcoming videos. And I really love their music, and he just was reaching out. So he's letting. I'm over the moon with this stuff. I love Southern like blues rock, and that's basically what they do. A lot of slide guitar and some of that organ, All right. Can you update regarding your new bagger size and throughput, cost, ROI? If you're buying it from us, we're selling it for $1,500. Let's see. I think Laura said today that when she was looking at the numbers, it was like an hour and a half for 170 12-pound blocks. So that's about a ton of substrate in about an hour and a half. That includes cleanup, and that includes loading the steamer and turning it on. The size of it, I don't remember the dimensions offhand, but Ben has actually been building them like skinnier or deeper, depending on where you're going to put it. So he'll get the measurements for the space you want to put it in and build bigger hoppers or smaller hoppers based on what you want. Maceroom said, do you have, the ROI? That thing pays itself off like the first, like let's say you make 170 blocks. And let's say for some reason, let's just say that most people average 2 pounds first flush. That's 340 pounds of mushrooms created on your first run if you make that many on your first run. You multiply that by $8 a pound, roughly speaking. That's $2,720. It should pay itself off and more for the first run, for the first 170 bags. That's the first ton of substrate. So it should absolutely pay itself off in the first ton of substrate. And he makes the depositor adjustable and the water adjustable. So you can change your formulas as you need to. It's a little bit of effort, but it's not like a lot of effort. You pull the thing out, move a block of wood over, and for your volume. And that way you can use alfalfa pellets and sawdust, which would be a 16%, supplementation, or any other kind of thing that you're using, and formulas and stuff that you want to build. So it's a pretty nice little system. And still, mainly prototypes that we're selling these things, but then they work. And Ben's been helping people make sure, like when they have problems getting those things set up and everything. So, let's see, mushrooms. Do you or have you thought about processing your mushrooms? We're looking to creating self-stable products because they seem to be getting popular. I have looked into it. It's not something that I'm super interested in doing. I don't know why. That never really interested me. Like the producing does, but like the processing never really interested me. That said, I wouldn't be against it. But our new space, like we've already mapped out pretty much every square foot of the new space. So even in the new space, we're probably not going to be putting in a commercial kitchen. We thought about it briefly because Jason is a hell of a cook, and we thought that Jason might, want to do some of the kitchen stuff and with that kind of stuff. But it's just, I don't think it's going to be worth it for me. But I think that it would work for other people very easily. So, Joseph, hey Joe, check your Facebook inbox for tracking on that Cyrus Lionsmane strain sent out yesterday. Thank you, Joe. Hey, I don't remember what you wanted. I've got it written down somewhere. So whatever it was, I'll send it out. But I appreciate you sending that to me, man. I'm loving the, like, I've actually got about 10 Lionsmane strains on the way that I'm going to get to trial. One of them's from Mycelia out of Europe, so that's going to be cool too. Jeff Pyle, with the recent influx of growers and interested growers, have you experienced any problems with territories or growth? Do you think it's just a trend? Do you think the future is actually in growing? I think that it's got a lot larger we got a lot more growing time to do before we start seeing large territory problems. I think that there are territory problems in isolated places. Even Atlanta, though, I know like 6 growers out of Atlanta, and they're still all expanding. So in my space, Knoxville, this area could support more mushroom growers. But most of the growers I've seen come, and they're usually out of business in about a year or so. I've tried to help a lot of them with their business side. It's always the business side that people fail on. It's never the growing. So I think that go read Mycological Warfare Part 1 and Part 2 on mossycreekmushrooms.com. That's a great website. A great blog post, and there's a lot of information on there that it's basically Ben's idea of where he thinks the market's going to go, and it explains tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 farms, what we think is going to happen with those. I actually saw that Ben is writing up Mycological Warfare Part 3 already, and I'm going to be writing another blog post coming up soon, along with some of that stuff. So Boomer's Farm, does a longer drive demand more money per pound? I would start off at like $10 a pound if you had to do the kind of drive we were talking about a minute ago. I know plenty of people in Atlanta, they get $10 a pound for their mushrooms easy. And they're even competing with each other and still at $10 a pound. So I think that you can get $10 a pound. And whenever I use $8 a pound, that's because it's my numbers. And, I just try to use my numbers as an example. And if I make it at $8 a pound, you should be able to make it at 10. But yes, I might also consider a delivery fee if there's not a route set up. Something like my restaurants that aren't on a route, I charge them like a $15 delivery fee just to make sure that they pay for some of my gas. Ocean Air, do you use a humid? Oh, you might also set a mandatory minimum for driving out that far. 20 pounds, something like that. Do you use a humidity control or take readings of the humidity in the grow room? If so, what humidity controller do you use? I use the one that's just on House of Hydro's kit. I forgot the name of it all of a sudden. It's just a House of Hydro humidistat, and it senses where the humidity's at, and if it falls below a certain level, it kicks on until it reaches a certain level, and then kicks back off. Hey guys, give me 1 second. My dog is apparently outside and wants to be let back in. I'm coming. I see the chat scrolling. All right. Do you create a schedule of your production? If so, what works for you? I do. We just use Google Sheets. So, Amanda, sending good vibes from Hawaii. Well, thank you. I'll send good vibes back to East Tennessee, or back from East Tennessee. Hawaii is one of the states I haven't been to. I've been almost to every single state in the union, but I haven't been to Alaska or Hawaii, and I haven't been to Maine. But I have been to every other state, I think, other than that. No, I've never been to Michigan. So I've never been to Michigan, Maine, or Alaska or Hawaii. So I'm at, 46? Tarek says, you don't inoculate with liquid culture? I'm doing 12-pound bags of master's mix. How would you introduce the culture to these bags? If you have a video on this already, what's it called? So you want to make grain spawn with your liquid culture. So I have a video called How to Make Grain Spawn with Liquid Culture. And then you use that grain spawn to inoculate your master's mix bags. Congratulations on signing the lease. Hope they didn't take too much blood for the bottom line if you signed in blood. I mean, just about. It was a hefty deposit, so I felt like a bloodletting for sure. By the way, I don't know if you guys can tell, but my new diet and weightlifting routine I've dropped like 15 pounds already since starting this up a few weeks ago. So I'm feeling pretty damn good right now. Let's see. And thank you, Lance, for the congratulations. It is a nerve-wracking, but one of the most exciting things I've ever done. This is when I take myself from a mom and pop shop and prove that I've got the metal to make it in the big boy world. So, become an actual merchant. During the first Rogan Stamets podcast, Stamets alludes to a conspiracy amongst the big mushroom companies and the Agaricus species. Yet wouldn't give any thoughts. Thoughts. You don't have to answer that. Well, just messing around. Love everything you guys do. So, T. Walker, I don't know what he's talking about. I've been thinking about going up there and seeing if Monterey, I know some guys who know the guys up at Monterey's, and I thought about going up there and seeing if they'll let me tour the place. I know they've done it before for people. And I thought that would make a good YouTube video. Get up there, see what they've got going on. I love Agaricus mushrooms. I don't have a problem with them. I think that exotics have a place in the world, and I think Agaricus has a place in the world. And as far as his stuff, I mean, his stuff's all to do with like cancer, and that they're hiding cancer research. And I don't know that I believe that stuff, but Paul knows how to get people Paul knows how to get people interested in what Paul's got to say. And that's not a bad thing. It's not terrible. It just is what it is. I just don't know anything about it. I would love to talk to him about it, but apparently he doesn't want to talk about it. Could you explain the rationale behind using soy hull pellets and hardwood fuel pellets? Both are difficult to find where I am. Knowing the nutrients in them would be useful to find a replacement. So, yeah, I mean, you can go online and look up the nutrition profile of soybean hull pellets and of hardwood fuel pellets, actually. The rationale behind using them is that they are a cheap and easy to find resource where we're at, and so it's a good thing to grow bulk. It's a good thing to use as your bulk substrate. It also produces really high yields and is easy. The pellets, instead of bulk, but using them in pellets, I do because it is easy for my infrastructure to handle. A lot of people use bulk sawdust and bulk supplements, and they have infrastructure that handles that just fine. So my point in pellets is not to say that that I use pellets and therefore no one else should. My point is that I use pellets so I know you can, and I should use pellets because it's the easiest for my infrastructure to handle. Michael Mama, she's back. Much love, y'all. Hey, Michael Mama, there were some people asking about you, and when they asked about you, I said, I don't know. And they said, is she okay? And I said, I think she's okay. She's been talking to Samantha pretty regularly. And then I said, but I did get this in the mail. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, man. I'm going to be putting a string on that today. And that may be my new mushroom pendant for the next little bit. So thank you, Mama. Cecilia says, hey, first time catching you live. Love the hair. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you for all you do. I appreciate you. Well, I appreciate you saying that and complimenting my hair. Thank you very much. I just let it down. It was starting to feel a little tight. So thank you very, very much. What's up, brother? How can we sterilize the grains without an autoclave, like using gypsum? I don't know. I've tried 100 different ways. I've even done atmospheric steam sterilization with them. And, of course, it's not true sterilization. It's more of a steam ultra pasteurization. And it works for like the first generation of spawn, but like the second and third end up going dirty really quick. So it's I've not found a good chemical one or anything like that. Really, pressure and heat are the best things you can find for doing grain. So hello from Slovenia. Really? Wow. We're all the way in Slovenia now. Are beech pellets good for shiitake? Because I can't get any other hardwood fuel pellets around here. Only conifer pellets, mostly spruce. So I've never heard of anyone using beech pellets. I've never even heard of beech pellets. So that said, beech is a hardwood, and as far as I know, any non-resinous, easy to rot hardwood will work. And that includes oak, even though oak's not like the easiest to rot. But like when I'm talking about like hard to rot, where like walnut, hickory, those aren't really good for growing mushrooms. But I think the beech would work just fine. What is your recipe for substrate when doing oysters? Do you mix 50-50 pellet, grass, and alfalfa? No, I mix 50-50 pellet. It's 50-50 mix of hardwood fuel pellets and soybean hull pellets. And I hydrate to 60%. Tedeschi Trucks Band, great band. I've never heard of Tedeschi. Oh, no, I have. It's the one with the hot chick, his wife, right? That she plays and sings, right? I have a friend that likes them. So there's not much more I know about them. Probably not the best thing to just blurt out. Derek Trucks went to my high school, Inglewood in Jacks, Florida. Oh, very cool. Michael Mama, I did get your box. As I just showed you. I know that you typed that before, but yeah, I liked it very much. Thank you very, very much. I meant to message you, but it has been crazy the past couple of days. Kevin says, good evening. Good evening, Kevin. Damn, I'm 24 minutes late. Are you really? Oh, did you write that 24 minutes and it's at 44 minutes? Dang, guys, I am behind on the chat, I guess. Very cool, Killer Kenyas. Oh, yeah, about the Tedeschi, Derek Trucks. So she's Tedeschi and he's Trucks, right? Howdy from Northern California. Well, hello, Tyson from Northern California. Hello from East Tennessee. Just got my copy of Radical. Oh, how long after knocking Agar do you normally see growth? If it's from 1 to 3 days, I typically see growth of some type or another. So you'll start to see things fuzz out. You should at least see, if you dye your agar like I do, you should at least see the piece of mycelium turn the color of the agar because it soaks up the dye. Just got my copy of Radical Myco today. I'm excited to get into that after school today. Also, any tips on how to convince my family I am not crazy for wanting to grow mushrooms? Prove them wrong by doing it. That's the only thing I can figure out. That's what I did. They all thought I was insane for wanting to grow mushrooms. But you can show them stuff now that I didn't have. Like, you've got resources I wouldn't show them me because my basement and my house look rough. Even though we make good money, we don't spend it on the house. You know what I mean? Like we typically do with equipment and stuff. But, you know, if you show them T.R. Davis, he started in a basement. Eric Myers, he started in a basement. Oaken Spore, Jewel, though she's not a business and maybe not the best one. There are tons of books on it. It's everywhere now. So that's basically the only way that I can think of is either to grow it or maybe show them that stuff. And maybe that'll worry them more, or maybe it won't. You'll have to make that one for yourself. How many different kinds of mushrooms you successfully grow together in the same fruiting room? Which one? So I do... oh man, that's a counting game. It's like 10 or 15 different species that I've grown in that grow room, and I grow them all roughly. They don't all grow the same time of year, though, right? I have to swap between my summer strains. Awesome. So a bunch of LC packages just got to the post office. My employee just told me so. And my tattoo artist got back to me, so I'll need to get back to him here in a little bit. But he has forgiven me for missing our appointment yesterday, which is good because I like this tattoo artist. He's the one that did my leg sleeve. He did my arm sleeve too, but I directed him on what I wanted for the arm sleeve. And with the leg sleeve, I told him just do what you want to do. But here are my parameters. And man, my leg tattoo is my favorite by far. So going back to what we were doing, 10 or 15 strains. I grow anything from king oysters to white enoki, golden enoki, comb tooth, bear's head, lion's mane, all the oyster different species that I've grown. The olive oysterling, I've grown shiitake in that room, pink oysters, gold oysters. Just all kinds of stuff. So pretty much any beach. I've grown beach and Namiko and I don't even remember what else, man. A lot. Mr. Hitty says, congrats. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's best to test your LCs on agar until you've got things going. That's true. A lot of people test on agar. I tend to test on a grain of jar. But I also do agar tests. So, but LC to agar 2 days ago. Good, Mr. Hideous. Clixo says, very nice. Congrats. Thank you very much. How did I miss this grain spawn step? Haha. I don't know. It's all over my videos. How do you mitigate mold issues when introducing grain spawn into 12-pound bags of Maxter Mix? Yeah, man, you're welcome. The flow hood is basically the main way to do it. So, Yagdrasil, good afternoon. Question. So, real quick, Yagdrasil, I saw your comment just before getting on here about how you were the first person ever on my live streams and how it was like meant to be. I agree. I thought that was really crazy that day when that happened, when it was like you showed up. Got my black pearl almost completely colonized. Was wondering if you found out any more info about it. You said you were going to try and get sequenced soon. So I haven't got it sequenced. I did get an email today or a message through the website that Melanie sent me that I haven't responded to yet because it's been crazy. But he was talking about sequencing, and he found people who are interested in doing the sequencing for us. So we may be one step closer to that. As far as the black pearl, man, I can't track it down. My spore isolate bags went into the grow room today. Laura was cutting those open. So those will tell us more. I'll show you guys what the isolates look like and the phenotypes on those. But we'll do those. Those are in breeder bags right now. And then they'll go breeder bags to, I'll actually do like a small full-scale test on them. And then we'll get a better judge of their phenotype from that. Awesome. Good for you. Thank you, Cadaver. I appreciate that. I assume you're talking about the warehouse. I'm very excited about that warehouse. Be careful if you hit up Monterey mushrooms. 2 employees have died there in the last year or two. Really? What'd they die from? I know that I've met a guy who worked up there, and he said they don't use gloves to pick their mushrooms, and they're picking all day, every day. And I could see it, mycelium growing in the cracks of his hands and in his fingernail beds. And he would say that he would like wash his hands or like put essential oil or something on them to kill it, or alcohol or something, and it would kill it off and it'd go away, and then it would just grow right back. Oh my gosh. No, thank you. Wear your gloves when you're picking. It jumped again. Oh my gosh, I am way further. I'm way behind, aren't I? Okay. I was born in Fairbanks, Alaska. You'd love it. It's not Maui, but a different beast. I'm sure that I would love both places. Here's what we do. In the deep dead of winter, we go join Amanda in Hawaii. And in the deep of summer, which I'm sure Hawaii is nice in the summer too, but then we go up to Alaska and enjoy all the fruits of the everything up there. And I think that would be a great, just a seasonal life back and forth. Hey, much love from south of Chile. Well, hey, welcome. We're getting even further international. Wayne said, I'm back. Wayne, I'm glad. Welcome back, man. I'm glad that you were able to join us again. Actually, I was talking to you earlier, but you may have missed it. Not to get too personal, but I have to ask, would you say the majority of your incomes comes from actually growing mushrooms, or would you say that grain culture, consulting, etc. would be the majority? By far, the fresh mushrooms are the largest section of my income. However, I'm expecting that to change in the very near future, because my website since January has taken off like that. And so I went from making, maybe lucky to make a couple $100 off my website every month to making a quarter of a weekly's income off of my website like last week compared to the fresh mushrooms. So it is quickly climbing fast. It'll be a long time before it completely replaces fresh mushrooms, and I don't ever want it to, because the fresh mushrooms are how I feel like I sell this stuff to you guys, right? Because I've got the ability to show the genetics and the fact that chefs like it before I ever sell it to you. So I see that as my superpower as a mushroom breeder, is that ability to prove it in the pudding right there. But Jeff, by far the largest part of my income comes from fresh mushrooms. Johnny said, hey, I've noticed the Norse runes in your lab and grow areas. I got to ask, which god do you favor the most? A Swede subscriber. Let's see, Johnny, I would say Odin would be my favorite. I've gone through a bit of rounds for a while. I know Odin's is like everybody's favorite. I don't like it for the reason that a lot of other people do. I like the Odinic aspect of sitting back and thinking through your problems, rather than solving your problems like Thor, or which would be, brute strength in it, I would say, or like Loki, which is only always like, here's the thing. Loki's a trickster god who's always out for himself. Odin's a trickster god who's always using trickery and conniving and everything else for the greater good. I mean, not always, but you know what I mean, for the most part. Tyr is very self-sacrificial, and all of them have something to be admired. But I look at Loki as like a warning story, and he had it all, and he pissed it away by being a victim mentality little brat, always looking at what other people always have over him. So as far as the Norse stuff goes, I would say that Odin's my favorite, because the Odinic sacrifice of myself unto myself to become better, to learn knowledge, to ever be seeking that kind of stuff, and to to always be seeking that knowledge for the protection of your own kind, your people, so like that. But I have a special place in my heart for Njord, so there's that too. What are the best mushrooms to boost immune health for people with cancer? Jennifer, I try to stay away from any medical claims whatsoever. However, I take reishi, cordyceps, and turkey tail, and any sort of ferricium that I can when I can. As far as cancer goes, the only studies that I've really seen have been on turkey tail and reishi. And those are supposed to be pretty good, but I don't know the study offhand, and I'm not comfortable making any real claims. My mom said, I'm okay. Thank you so much, y'all. I've been dealing with a little with the ducks and brooders, and I'm so glad you like them. That was the last of my glasswork ever. Mushrooms took over. Really? You're not doing any glasswork now? Oh, dang. I was hoping that I would be able to see how it's done and get into it a little bit. I do love it, and thank you for giving me some of the last of your work. That actually means a lot to me. Hey, Donnie, I'm glad you're loving the live chats, man. Absolutely. I'm going to keep them coming as much as I can. As soon as I talked to a guy today about getting our electric company is installing fiber all over the county and bit by bits. And I'm happen to be stationed right next to the guy who's doing the installation for the electric company in the county. So he offered to get us set up for the best price that we could possibly get set up for with the fiber optic. So he's already getting us a quote on running line, and as soon as I have Wi-Fi there, I will do live streams from the warehouse. When are you going to hit us with the contamination vid? It's going to be a while, because I'm doing a lot of cataloging for that one, a lot of pictures, a lot of microscope photography, that kind of stuff. It's coming, but it'll be sometime. Out of my 40-ish bags or so, I get about 10 to 20% trichopenicillin contaminate. I don't end up like that guy without a face from the black mold. What? Who had not a face from the black mold? Here's the thing. I always count on 10% contamination rate. So 10 to 20% is not terrible. 20% would definitely be higher than I'd want to do business at. But in the beginning, I think my contamination rate was something like 50% in the very beginning days. So really, man, it's just chasing down your vectors. And a really good book for that is Growing Gourmet and Medicinal Mushrooms by Paul Stamets. He goes a lot into the vectors of contamination, and that's what I'm basing my video on, plus what I've seen myself. Eric H., hi from Idaho. I'm brand new to this. I had a few spawn bags just sit for a couple weeks until finally bacteria got them. No mold, no mycelium. Could the grain have antifungal meds on them? Maybe, but probably not. They tend to try to stay away from antifungals unless they just have to spray them. I see it on soybeans than I see on anything. That said, you could get bacteria from your liquid culture. If you use liquid culture, you could get your bacteria from your hand brushing the bag. So there are a lot of things, but typically I find that bacterial problems come from an improper cook. So you may just need to cook longer and hotter. Spread. Hey, what's up, Ben? Welcome to the chat. I just sent you an email a little bit ago. Hope you got it. Let's see. Open invitation to Maine, Andrew. Glad you are doing. Oh, well, thank you. I love Maine, right? Like the pictures of it in fall are like some beautiful. They want to avoid summer and winter. I've heard in summertime you guys become a mosquito infested mess, and in wintertime you're freezing. And I probably would like the freezing part, but Samantha wouldn't. So spring and fall. Fall being my preferred time, though. That's one of my busiest times here. And it's whenever we do a lot of our outdoor cooking and parties and rituals and all that stuff. So open invitation to Maine. Andrew, glad you are doing live today. Fortunately, I can listen while I work. What do you know about cold pasteurizing using garden lime? So I know that people do it. I don't remember the ratios. Everyone that I've known who does it quickly learns to wear gloves because it eats up your hands. And number two, they quickly learn that it's not as reliable as heat. Now, if you're in a northern climate, which you are, you're probably going to have less of a problem with it than someone in the south does. Heat, hot, wet places, I have found that lime pasteurization, people seem to swear by it if they're in the desert or in a cold, dry place. When you're in a cold, warm, wet place like East Tennessee in the spring, summer, and fall, and even our mild winters, I mean, Tennessee's a wetland state. We've got one of the largest bioloads in the country in our air. So I found that lime seems to not work in places like this reliably. It works through the winter time and then stops. So if you live in a place where you can make use of it, I think it's great. And if you can't, then heat is the best way to go. And luckily, we can do atmospheric steam sterilization. So it's not actually that expensive to do heat, wet heat sterilization. Sporak says, I started in a basement too. Haha, the name is ironic. Oh, okay. I didn't know. I always wondered. I was like, when we had our consult the other day, I was like, I meant to ask you if you were literally growing in your attic. By the way, I put carrots in this today, and I like it. I didn't think that I would like the carrots with the spinach and stuff, but I like it. Hey, what's up, Nancy? Hello from Florida. Well, hello, sunshine, from East Tennessee. Jennifer Slater. Also, you do look great, much healthier. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. I don't know why it was so hard to read that sentence. Thank you very much, Jennifer. I appreciate that. I've been trying. I feel a lot better, and the feeling better is half the battle. I mean, have you ever noticed that, like, you lift weights and there's and one day of dieting, right? Like eating well, like lots of fruits and veg and meat and almost no carbohydrates. And you're just like, I'm strong and slim and sexy. And then you see yourself in the mirror and you're like, what? I look like that? That's not the way I feel today. I feel every muscle, I feel everything. So anyways, thank you for saying I look great. I appreciate it. Thankfully, my wife seems to agree. Do you know Joe Cicerello? Hold on a second. Hey, Joe, I'm got you on speakerphone. I'm doing a live stream. Everything okay?
Yeah, you didn't call me that tonight.
Ah. Okay. That's right, I didn't. I'll tell you what. Let me call you after this one, I promise.
That'd be fine. I can't get on the stream right now. I'm like knee deep in all kinds of grow blocks that have grown a lot faster than they were supposed to.
Ah, okay, cool. Yeah, man, I'll give you a call. It'll be about 4:30.
4:30 your time, right?
4:30 my time.
So everybody, I said hi.
Hey, everybody, Joe says hi. All right, man, I'll tell you later.
Thanks, man.
See ya. Meant to say talk to you later. All right. Do you know where the market is like in Chicago? It looks like there might be only 2 gourmet growers in the city. By the way, the pronunciation is closer to Unjumi? Unjum or Unjumi? See, I'm terrible at pronunciation. That's my East Tennessee coming out. I don't know anything about the market in Chicago. Chicago is a huge market, so there's only 2 growers there. It's probably wide open still. I know New York. I've talked to people up in New York, and New York is still wide open, even though there's growers up there, like New York City. Hi, Andrew, here from Washington State. You mentioned during our phone conversation that Douglas fir pellet may work as a sub. By the way, got my cultures. What a great syringe. Thank you, man. I'm glad. Yeah, my stuff's getting thick, isn't it? Yeah, fir should work. For Douglas fir pellet, excuse me. That smoothie's hitting me. Douglas fir pellet should work. If anybody has experience with that, no E sound at the end. Thanks for your answer. You're very welcome. So, Unjum. I'm going to try to remember that. In the Rhodic dialect of the Scots-Irish, the A, so people that settle this area, is a hard A, and so it's really hard to make that into an O sound for me when I'm reading, but I will do my best for you. But if anybody has the experience with using fir pellets to grow on, please put that in the chat here, and then we'll let Daryl know that people have experience with that. So that was pretty great. Awesome. Unjum. What are the better tasting mushrooms for Italian and pizza restaurants? Or just please give me a total rundown of the flavors of 2 types of eatery. So if you're talking about like Italian and pizza restaurants, so Italian is going to be different than pizza. Pizza, if my understanding from my pizza guys is that they like mushrooms that have lots of little mushrooms because they can present it whole on the pizza. They will slice stuff up thin, but it's their preference to not have to. Anything like a king oyster that needs to be cooked for a little while doesn't do well in a pizza oven. And Comb Tooth. I have sold to Comb Tooth to pizza restaurants before, and they really liked it. And then they said they started getting a couple complaints here and there. He said it's not very many, and he's like, I really like the flavor and texture of it, but a lot of people thought it was weird because it was kind of seafoody, and then it would go on that pizza. People were like, oh, kind of a seafood pizza flavor, weird. So as far as that goes, Italian, as far as I've experienced, man, Italian chefs go crazy on mushrooms. It's like anything and everything you'd ever want. Those guys really know how to handle mushrooms. And that and French cuisine, man, both those guys know how to run mushrooms. So I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, let me know and I'll do more detail. Do you wear a mask in the fruiting room, or does the spore load not bother your respiratory system? Everyone should wear a mask, even if it doesn't bother you. It absolutely bothers me. It didn't when I started. Then I got the mushroom flu. And now even being near a box of mushrooms without my mask on makes my heart start beating a little harder, makes my chest kind of tight, and makes my throat itch. So I've gotten sensitive to them since. Kind of like I used to keep bees. Then I got stung a whole bunch of times, and now I'm like really sensitive to bee stings. So just wear your mask from the beginning. If I'd worn my mask from the beginning, I don't think I'd be having the kind of issues that I've got with that heart rate stuff. Good morning. How you doing? Well, Sam, I'm doing really well, man. How are you doing? Indri, hello. Welcome to the chat. What is my favorite agar recipe? So, my most used agar recipe is a master's mix agar. So I do 500 milliliters water, 10 grams agar, 10 grams malt extract, 1 gram soy hull pellets, 1 gram sawdust fuel pellets, hardwood fuel pellets, and a needle's worth of gel food dye, typically blue or teal, for my master's mix. And that is my favorite agar recipe as far as my workhorse one. My favorite one that I've ever done was a stink bug agar recipe that I tried for cordyceps, and it was kind of cool. Got it to pin off dishes and everything, and it was fun. It was accidental. A stink bug flew and landed right into the flask as I was making the agar, and I thought, there are a lot of stink bugs around here, so I just took a jar and collected a bunch of them, put them in there, cooked them up, and that worked out really well, actually. Any of the bug producers seemed like they really enjoyed it. Hey, Ubogi, Rolnik, I'm just going to call you Rolnik. Willkommen. Greetings from Poland. I don't use English very good. Hey, man, that's all right. Welcome to the chat. I'll do my best. I took German, French, and Spanish in school, and I don't remember any of it, but I will do my best for you. Hello from Reno. Well, hello, Sam, from Reno. Like Reno 911, that kind of Reno? Like from out near Las Vegas? Let's see, Tyson says, reply Monterey mushrooms. If I recall correctly, heavy machinery accidents, tractrix of OSHA is likely. Okay. I gotcha. They weren't killing off like whistleblowers or something in that conspiracy Paul Stamets was talking about. Rich Jenkins, think it was a Fresh Cap that had a video about grain gypsum and had a cup of coffee, all that to do grain jars. So I don't know anything about that, Rich. We would have to check that out. And I would be interested in if he posted a results video on that as well. But it would be very interesting to try. How long do you think sterile uninoculated agar plates and slants would last in the fridge? I'm thinking about prepping basically the whole year's worth at once ahead of time. So I had a consult that did this. What did he do? Did he pack the jars in glycerin? Like he had vials. I even used RO water, like non-nutritive water that was sterile. He cooked it and it's sterile. And then he put mycelium into that. And the mycelium just like stayed stable. Like I think he took chunks of agar and put them in there and kept them in vials, or for his long-term storage, vials of agar with just water, and then refrigerated it. And I think he said that he ended up doing enough that he was able to, every 6 weeks, like he made them all up the same day, and then every 6 weeks he brought some out and tried it to see how it goes. And I don't know what the results of the experiment were, but I've heard of people doing it. But I don't remember if he used glycerin or just RO water. So, other than that, to do sterile uninoculated agar plates, I take the sleeve that I got all my plates in, pour my plates, put the sleeve back on, and then seal it. And I set it unrefrigerated out all the time, and it'll sit for weeks clean. So, slants, I've got slants that have been sitting on my shelf unrefrigerated for about a month and a half now that I just pull one whenever I need one. So they last a long time. If you truly have them sterile, they should last forever. We steamed blocks in the steamer, set them on our lab shelf, and let them sit for an entire year. And they sat for a year and 2 months before they ever showed any growth. And they finally showed growth right where the bag, the seal, or not the seal, we didn't even seal them. Just had them folded over the way they were before to see what they looked like when they came out of the steamer. And the growth was right there where the opening of the bag would be, and I assume over time that got loose. So it got cold, maybe warmed up, then got cold and sucked air back in it or something. But that's like a year and 2 months before that ever went bad. So a long, long time. And you can absolutely prep stuff ahead of time. LC jars, I'd be a little bit more careful with. I like to use LC jars for running, but the good news about them is they're so easy to prep. You probably don't need to prep those much in advance because it only takes me 45 minutes in a day to get all my LC jars made up. That includes the cook time, which, during the cook time, I'm not sitting there watching it cook. I'm going out doing other stuff. Turn it off, and then let them cool overnight, and then inoculate them, and you're good to go. Sam says, you know a lot about mushrooms, right? Have you ever heard of Clathrus acri? I don't know. I know a little bit about a lot, but I don't know much about any one thing. Let's see. So you're asking me about this one thing. Clathrus. I haven't heard of it in my, the scientific term there. Commonly known as octopus stinkhorn. Okay, and I know about stinkhorns, but I didn't know anything about it. Andrew, so could you explain a little more about first generation spawn? There's no clear cutoff, but what would you consider first gen? Slant to dish to grain because you make so much. What is your typical routine? So the first generation spawn is always the spawn that comes from your culture, right? So whatever your standard culture is, liquid culture or agar, when agar goes to grain or liquid culture goes to grain, that's first generation grain spawn. Then whenever you expand that bag out, every bag that was made from that bag is considered Gen 2. And then Gen 3, so on until you stop doing generations. As far as anytime you do a transfer, that's a generation. And it's not a clean cut thing to go. That's why you say there's no clear cutoff. That's because it's basically the standard that you build. So it's going to be, everybody does it a little bit differently. And it's something that Paul Stamets made up, basically. And people use it to try to standardize. And it's not a bad system to work with, but the generations, are not as important as treating your cultures right. Do you just do a lot of LC jars from master or even a bunch of plates? So I do, if you're talking about a slant, I only inoculate plates from slants, and then I use my plates to inoculate either liquid culture or more plates or grain masters or even 5-pound grain bags sometimes. Michael Lee, what's up, Michael? So the metabolites, do they affect mycelium growth or fruiting of the mushroom, and how often do you get metabolite in your blocks? Some strains, every block is full of metabolite, and some strains, you don't see any metabolite. It's a strain-dependent thing met with a type of substrate, typically. I do see a lot more metabolites on Master's Mix than I do on pretty much anything else. I think my dog is snoring. Truffle, are you snoring? Truffle. Here, honey, you okay? Oh, honey, what did you get into? It was all over your face. I think she's been out there digging in the mushroom blocks. Now I get to bathe the dog today. So do they affect the growth? If it gets to where you get a lot of it just standing there, like drowning your mycelium, basically, yeah, it can affect. In the fruiting blocks, I never worry about it, though. We often get, like, mushroom pea. What's what we call it whenever a block, like, you'll reach up and grab a block and mushroom will pee on you. So. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm way behind. Okay. What's a good shiitake substrate? So 60% hardwood fuel pellets, 40% wheat bran, 60% hydration. That is my shiitake recipe. So the metabolites, do they affect my... So I had actually skipped that question. So I'm glad that I went back and saw that. And I hope that Michael Lee, that answers your question. If it doesn't, let me know. Do you think it's realistic for a new grower to hit the market asking for $80 to $100 to $20 per 10-pound case like you do, assuming high quality, or is that unrealistic? Would you suggest starting cheaper? I would not. You get free samples or expensive ass shit. You don't do anything else. Do not undercut yourself. You'll just get them used to buying off you at the cheap. Most farms that I do consults for start selling at $10 a pound because that's what I suggest, and some have even gone to $12 a pound for oysters, and they do well on that. It's always easier to come down than it is to go up. So, also, if you lower your prices, but you've got chefs who are buying at higher prices, go ahead and lower the prices on those chefs. Like, you would not believe how many people will bend the rules for these chefs over here to lower their prices and going forward, but then they've got a core group that's still paying $12 a pound instead of $10 a pound. And then those chefs find out about it because chefs do all the talking with each other that they can. And now you look like a money-hungry, grubby person because you're charging way too much than you are the other guys. That makes them think that you're favoring one restaurant over another. They don't take kindly to that. Tarek, do you have a video on mixing your grain spawn into your master's mix? I'm just curious because you do such large volumes. The best way to make fruiting blocks is the name of the video for that. Though we use a different bagger now. Michael Mama, oh hell yes, I'd be honored to teach you. We'll set up a raging studio right next to your incubation room. I always go back to glass. Just the last couple of years, Mushies took over. I gotcha. Yeah, I'd love to learn it. That thing with the flame and the goggles and stuff just looks so Terran. And I mean Terran from like StarCraft. Let's see. Casey, I don't know what you're saying there. Daryl Wise, yes, those syringes are way thick. Yeah, man, I make some pretty thick LC. I probably let it incubate for a long time. Sometimes I have trouble sucking that stuff up in the syringes. I'll take 4 or 5 takes to get it up in there. Let's see. Can I mix hardwood pellets with oats for my fruiting blocks? I'm having a hard time. One of my computer's just like spinning forever. Can I mix hardwood pellets with oats for my fruiting blocks? Yeah, you can. I don't know what your ratios are going to be or anything else, but you absolutely can do that. Darewise, just watch your videos of Dismantle a Thor and Mousetrap. When are you going to share your new bagging system? We're on it, man. Ben's on it. I'm not on it. It's completely reliant on Ben. He is doing the best he can to get it out to you guys as quickly as possible. But he works nights and he works like 12-hour shifts. So he is very, very busy. And then he is starting this build. He's building out our entire warehouse. And we're not entirely sure where all the labor to help him is going to come from. So we got to look around at that and see what we can get for people. Sam Gonzalez. Doing fine, by the way. Planning on making an indie game with a group of my friends. I'm the founder of the company. Well, congratulations, Sam. Glad that you're doing well, man. That sounds like a cool thing to be working on. Spark says, I might have access to a scanning electron microscope. If anyone has a unique spore strain that they would like imaged, I could probably arrange it, trade the service for the culture. Huh? That would be cool, guys. I love scanning electron microscopy. Hello, Chris. Hello, I'm going to butcher that name. Sismicalo. I hope I pronounced that right. What's up, SS? Reno, something says Reno, Nevada, the one and only, just a little bit away from Las Vegas. Closer to Carson, though. 35 minutes to Carson. Okay, so you're actually out there near Aloha Medicinals, that mushroom company. Bearded Bullet, should I store those syringes at room temperature or in a fridge? If you're going to use them soon, a week or two before I get to them. So, yeah, I mean, you could leave them out. I'll leave mine out for weeks all the time. Anything longer than that, you might throw in the fridge. I went to purchase a small ultrasonic humidifier a week and a half ago for my mini greenhouse setup and thought of you. Well, I hope, Jim, that you used the House of Hydro code Mossy to help me get 10% of that commission. Thank you, though. Chris says, I started growing mushrooms. I got some outside on a log, but want to start inside where to start at fruiting or agar work. So if you go to my website, mossycreekmushrooms.com, and look at our blog, I have a post called The Importance of Working Backwards. I talk about starting with fruiting and then getting to lab work by working backwards. So fruiting is where I would start. Jennifer Slater, thank you for all the great info. Really neat that you're able to do this right now. Much love to you and your amazing wife and fam. Thank you very much, Jennifer. Much love back to you. Yeah, you're very welcome. I'm glad that we're able to be helpful. So I wish she was able to be here with us. But she's got those deliveries going on. Let's see. SSS, how come you don't shake the grains when you inoculate with LC? Wouldn't shaking spread everywhere? It would, but I have found that shaking, it actually slows everything down, and sometimes it makes it to where it doesn't even work all that well. Evan Starr, I know a lot about a lot of things. Well, that's good. I know a lot about a little, or I know a little about a lot. Sam Gonzalez, I probably should have just said devil's fingers mushroom. Now that I think of it, sorry about using scientific term. Okay, I've never heard it called devil's fingers, but we do have an oyster that we just cloned from the Devil's Back in Panther Creek State Park, and we're calling it the Devil's Back oyster. It is in fruiting blocks now on its first commercial test, and as soon as its commercial test is over, if it's going to be able to be sold, we will be selling it. Oh, super chat. Enjoy your chats. Use this to buy that awesome burger. Thank you, Lloyd. I really appreciate that, man. You don't want to ask a question with that, guys? Thank you very much. I understand, Sam, about using the scientific terms and preferring those. I got called a science type the other day, and I try really hard to come off as not a science type, even though I do like the science stuff. Hey, Andrew, what temps do you target for your steamer trough? What internal temp do you target for bags? Sorry in advance if you've already covered this. So, yeah, we can't really get ours much higher than 190. We don't take internal temp on bags, but it was in the core of the steamer. Between bags, it came out to 190 degrees. And, that is our target temp at this point. As long as our steamer's working, we don't actually monitor temperature anymore. We just monitor time. We see the steam rolling. We know it's good to go. We've done this so many times now that you get a sense for when it's good or bad. Though I do have SOPs written up for it. Eric Nicole, can you hook the ultrasonic fogger up to a dimmer switch? I don't know. That would be a question for John at House of Hydro. Go to his contact page and do it. Truffle butter. Truffle's the name of my dog. She's excuse me. What the fungus every day is Q&A day now. Well, it's not every day. I think the last one I did was Friday, maybe Saturday. Pretty sure it was Friday. I took the weekend off. Shout out from South Texas Mushrooms. Thank you all for all your dedication and hard work, Mossy Creek Mushrooms. Keep us on. Absolutely. Keep us on culture, man. Scrooge McDuck. Hi. Well, hello. And my chat jumped. Daniel C. Good afternoon, Mossbacks. The Chestnut and King Blue are starting to grow on oats nicely. Thank you for the cultures. I was able to find soy hulls, not pelletized. Is that okay? It is. You're going to need to figure out your moisture content, but it absolutely will work. And I'm glad you're happy with the cultures, man. I'm loving shipping them out, guys. I'm getting multiple orders a day off the website. You guys are killing it. I love it. Like every day I get to send packages out almost. Heck, you guys might fund this warehouse build just off liquid culture. That would be cool, because it means I'd be able to keep living my life and not have to like tighten my belt so hard. So Daniel, I'll see one thing real quick, just to make sure that it is soy hulls and not soy meal. That's all. Tarek, thanks for your patience, Mossy. I've only started growing in January, so every little bit helps. You're the man. If you end up visiting Alaska, you better stop in the Yukon on the way. Yeah, man, I'll go wherever you guys tell me to go. That'd be awesome. I've had friends that went and lived in Alaska. It sounds like an amazing place. I also have an unused bathtub sitting in the garage. Do you think it would withstand steam sterilization? It depends on the materials that it's made up of. If it's plastic, it should have a recycling number on there. Go look up recycling number whatever, and it will tell you what type of plastic it is, and then look at the thermal tolerances for that. And then you'll be able to do stuff, and you'll be able to look at it and go, oh, I can make a steamer out of a milk jug, or I can make a whatever out of a whatever. So actually, I don't think a milk jug works, but you know what I mean. When are LC ready to use after you inoculate, and how long are they viable in a jar? So my LC is usually able to be used in about 10 days after I've inoculated it. And viable in the jar, I mean, I've got some that has been sitting there for about 4 months now. I just keep stirring it every day. It's very clear, and it's not really growing anymore, but it is still usable. I have used it tested it, and sell it occasionally. It's basically on my lower volume stuff. Let's see. Anjum says it's home single room humidifier, but I did use the code at House of Hydro after that. Awesome. Good. Thank you. Sorry about talking about my plans, by the way. I know this is a Q&A. I'm not used to Q&As. I'm used to gaming live streams where I can just chat with a streamer. Hey, don't be sorry. I'm happy to chat with you guys. Like I said, we're here. I'm going to be here for about another 30 minutes. So let's just chat about whatever you guys want to chat about. I'll talk about whatever. Let's see. Oh, Sporadic retracted their message. You are a very good businessman. Well, thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that. I hope I'm a good businessman. Let's see. Road Trial says, what the fungus, Brian? What's up, Brian? Hope you're okay. Wait, is what the fungus in here? Huh. I don't know how you're seeing that he's in here. Are you talking about me? Because I'm not Brian. I know you know that, Robert. You've been in the chat the whole time. Tyson Evans says, do you know of any existing spreadsheets that give at-a-glance growing conditions, temperature, humidity, etc. for various mushrooms? Would love a single sheet instead of pouring over all the books. No, but we could probably make one. I don't see why we couldn't do that. Might make that something that's available through Patreon or something. That'd be cool. Douglas fir. I experimented fermenting 50 pounds of Douglas fir pellets. The time frame was winter, and I never completed the effort after 6 weeks. I considered it impractical. I found little anaerobic activity. Yeah, I mean, I can kind of see that. That would certainly be a thing. You would have a hard time. You shouldn't have a hard time getting anaerobic activity, but wood doesn't always break down super easy in anaerobic conditions compared to aerobic conditions. When providing samples to chefs, do you suggest a single species or a variety pack? I suggest a variety pack or whatever is typical of you, but we do mixed oyster cases. We try not to do all single species cases. I shouldn't say that. We try to do single strain cases, but we sell them as mixed oyster cases. So any suggestions on the varieties to use for that wow factor? So the main thing is just to have really good quality mushrooms. Any good quality mushrooms are going to have a wow factor to them. The biggest thing to me, excuse me, I'm sorry, that hit me harder than I thought it would. Oh, man. Well, trolls are starting. As far as that goes, man, like my big thing is, like I said on our consult that one day, never take them your best case. Always take them what's going to be the most representative of the product they're going to be receiving on the regular. So bring them your most average looking case for that sample, and always a mixed case if you can, because that sets the expectation that they're going to receive mixed cases. But you can do single strain cases and just say, hey, I will always try to get you that single strain, but recognize I'm dealing with a living product and I can't always get you the exact same thing. So, man, my headache's coming back. How much minutes a day do you stir your LC? Like 2 or 3. I've got 4 stir plates now, and Ben's building me a 5-plate stir plate right now. And that basically just a few minutes per day. What I normally do is just stir them while I'm doing lab work and putting packages together so that I can double up on stuff. But the last cultures of every day always get left on the stir plates, and then they get stirred all night. So, you're not really going to do it too much so long as you're not just ripping them apart. Can't wait for all the spawn to get here. It's such a great thing to use different producer strains. Yeah, I'm happy to get it to you, Mama. I am not the fastest person when it comes to spawn, but I do have some really good stuff. I'm not much of a mushroom guy. I'm more into marine animals. Sam, that's kind of where I started. I worked at a marine fish hatchery. That was my first biology job. I worked there for 1.5 years as a hatchery technician and then as a live foods manager. Seth says soy hulls versus soy. Oh, Seth, what's going on, man? Didn't even recognize it was you. Soy hulls versus soy hull pellets. I have a number of customers that use organic soy hulls because that's what I could get them. I just got 2 of them organic soy hull pellets, and they have both. I prefer pellets because of the ease of use. There's a few other little factors there, like the pelletization process cleans them a little bit. That kind of stuff. That said, soy hulls work great. So I think both of them work, and they're both the same material. So as long as you're getting your water weight figured out in the initial soy hulls, and then accounting for that, you should be all good. No, I thought said he was here. I misheard. Oh, sorry, Robert. No worries, man. It's my bad. My first good spawn was Portobello. It looked good, but the bag had water in it. It looked normal until I picked it up. Is that normal? I mean, for a little bit of liquid in it, yeah, that's perfectly normal. That's nothing to be concerned about. Let's see. Nancy says, so I saw how to make a steam pasteurizer out of a plastic tote on YouTube. Does this work for substrate preparation? He recommended 175 degrees for 90 minutes. Yeah, so the reason why you can go at a smaller time is because a tote's going to be a lot smaller than a big trough if you're doing 170 blocks. So that's really what you want is something like 175, 190 degrees for 90 minutes if you can get that for that amount of time. But then it ends up being like the more substrate you put in, the longer your cook's got to be because your core has to get to temp. So that's why we do 24-hour and 36-hour cooks. So I've created a substrate with barley, lentils, cow manure, and organic compost. I wanted to give the mushies a variety of food they can draw from. What do you think of the composition? Will it work? And sawdust. So are you growing oysters or are you growing dung lovers? Because that doesn't sound bad for a dung lover. Silver Libras headaches, isopropyl withdrawal. Something like that. No, I just woke up with a really bad headache this morning. And it has never really gone away. So I think it's all this inflammation. I've got really bad allergies, and right now is like the allergy, like just, ugh. East Tennessee is the worst place in the world for allergies. Like Ben's going through the same issue, so Samantha somewhat, Jason, we're all getting snotty. And that's, in fact, I've got my Flonase. So, commented it works much better for mixing. Oh, your customer did for the soy hulls? Okay, that'd be interesting. I mean, we don't really use mixers. We just do it during the spawn, so that's one of the reasons probably why I like using pellets just fine. Sam Gonzalez, marine creatures are pretty freaky. My favorite is the angler fish. Yeah, that's no kidding, man. That one's creepy. Well, for ones that are still alive, that is. My favorite extinct marine animal is the Heliopricon. Good old sir. Oh, the sawjaws. Yeah. Weird, man. Those things are weird. I've always been really into marine animals and well, heck, I like freshwater too. I just like water a lot. I am a creature of the swamp for sure, of the wetland at least. Let's see. Silver Leaper says, Nancy Vancher, milk tank is better. Get one with a single big lid. Just add silicone. We use them. So there you go. I'm small, just starting out. Yeah, I mean those little tote steamers work great. I used to use one. Used to use we went and bought plastic 55-gallon drums and used those, and they were cheap and easy to use, easy to move around, not easy to load and unload. So I would not want to keep doing that when I'm older and having to bend down constantly. Look into MMS. It will cure everything and you will lose weight. MMS. I'm not sure what that would be, but I'll look up MMS, I guess. I am a little skeptical of cure-alls, I will say, but I will look into it. The 3 things I love doing apart from studying the ocean are as follows: gaming, composing music, and role-playing. Yeah, I would like to compose music. I have a DAW that I work from. I've played some. I made a swamp song, which was me going out and walking in the muck, and I sampled that. And I sampled the frogs croaking and rain and everything else. And then I did some electronic music to it, and it was really fun. So, so Myco Mama says, Nancy, don't waste your time with the Willy Myco tub. The thing does not work. Total waste of money. Okay, I hadn't even tried that one. She also says that Nancy, to get up with her if you need to. Watched a lot of Willy's stuff. Good kid. Not much sense though. So take that for what you will, Nancy. Maybe you can get with Myco Mama. You guys can get a girls' crew going. As far as role playing, I've not done a lot of role playing since I was in high school. I did a lot of D&D, and then gaming. Of course, I love gaming. I'm really into Apex right now, so I'm not a gamer, I guess, or I don't know. I like to game regularly. I don't know what a milk tank is, Nancy says. I know the IBC totes. I know people use the IBC totes with good results. I think What the Fungus uses IBC totes. Thank you so much for what you do. I used House of Hydro Code Mossy to buy a deluxe kit. It works wonderful. Try Flonase Sensi Mist. It works better than the regular kind you have. Okay. I wonder why they didn't prescribe me the Sensi Mist. Or is that something, can you just buy Flonase? I don't actually remember. They prescribed that to me. I was having double ear infections really, really badly. And then I have a lot of inflammation all the time, and they even said that my ears still haven't completely drained, but at least they're not infected anymore. And they gave me that Flonase to help with that because I always have inflammation in my nasal pathways. So, and my sinuses and I've got gigantic tonsils. So that's fun and gross. Have you checked out that show Devs? Pretty good, about a quantum computing company. Good actors. No, I've not even heard about it, but I will absolutely check that out. That sounds amazing. I love that kind of stuff. Darewise, tell me about marketing, finding the market, and how to find the niche of the mushroom market, how to find buyers. So Daryl, the best. So my wife and I talk a lot about that in a Valentine's Day video we had, not from this past Valentine's, but from a year before. So you can check that out on there. The biggest thing for me is I just Google fine dining in Knoxville, Tennessee, and find the non-chain restaurants. Look at the ones that I think I would like to work with the most, and look at them to see if they are on my route. And if they are, then and all that lines up, then I will call them and I'll just say, hey, I'm Andrew Reed with Mossy Creek Mushrooms. May I speak to the person in charge of purchasing produce? Get to that person on the phone. Say, hey, when's a good time to, I do deliveries on this day. When would be a good time to stop by? Or may I stop by and drop off a sample box of our mushrooms? Typically it's yes. They take samples all the time. And I always bring them a full-size box as a sample and an average box, not my best box, but you will get in trouble for taking your best box there. And then the next time you show up with an average box because you set expectations way too high. Go up to them and say, hey, may I speak to the person in charge of purchasing produce? They're there. You hand them the box and go, hey, I know your time is really important. I'm walking backwards while I'm saying this. I'll get out of your hair. I just wanted to leave this sample with you guys. If you're interested in what I've got to offer, please call the number on the card that's stapled on the top of the box. And I'll head out there. And then usually I'll get called back or, hey, can you stay a minute? And, everything else. I just always try to act like their time is very important because it is. And, really narrow in on my targets. Like I have only been told by 2 restaurants ever, because I do so much work on the front end of targeting who I want to go after that I end up not really having to walk away with a no. So that's really what it comes down to, is just targeting people, knowing that a chain restaurant's not going to work with you unless you can supply the whole chain. Don't go with them. I use it's a 18-inch by 10-inch by 12, or 18-inch by 12-inch by 10-inch box from Uline, and I can't link it here in the chat. YouTube will retract it, but and it might get me in trouble for doing it from my own account. But it's from Uline. If you go on there and look up 18-inch corrugated box, you'll find one that's like an 18-inch by 10-inch by 12, or 18 by 12 by 10, or however it is. And that one's a good one to go to. So if it's roughly 10 pounds, depending on what strain you put into it. Nancy, get up with me if you need. Watched a lot of Willie stuff. Good kid. Don't watch. Oh, I've already read that one, didn't I? My bad. Like I said, guys, getting tired. Sporadic. Does your steam run constantly, or do you use a PID controller to let it go on or off once it's up to temp? We let it run constantly because it was the cheapest way to build it at the time. Ben is designing one that is PID, and it's going to have a lot more elements to it, and so it will be a lot more efficient. But we're not there yet. It'll probably be at the new place. But in the meantime, I will probably just buy a couple sauna steamers, modify those, and use those at the new place until he's ready to build out a new one, because he's going to be so overworked. Anything I can use as a plug-and-play situation for now is going to be what I'm going to do. I'm best at composing Middle Eastern-ish music on piano and keyboard. It's surprisingly fun. Cool. So if you like gaming and music, and you like that Middle Eastern-ish music, look up Bamboozled. I think it's by Toro. It's Toroi, and it is Mirage, the character from Apex. It is his song, and I listen to that song a lot before I play as Mirage because it's fun. At Michael Mama, that was the one I was talking about. That's what Nancy said. Oh, D&D. I'm a huge D&D fan. Yeah, I haven't played D&D in a long time. I did it with Ben. Ben and I and his brothers would play D&D. That's who I played D&D with. Because I've known Ben for forever. I can't remember a time without Ben, honestly. I mean, if I do, they're very brief. That's how long I've known Ben. My mama said, I figured. Girl power. Yes, indeed, girl power. That's why I hire mainly women. Like, my female employees are badasses. Not saying anything about Jason. Jason's badass too. But I have one Jason to 3 females. So, you know. I'm a level 2 board rogue male lizard folk. My go-to spell is Thunderclap. Man, I don't remember any of that stuff. Like I said, it was high school, and that's been 16 years ago when I graduated. But I enjoyed it. And we never played it like the real way. Like, we always played it like more storytelling style. So you want to... this does go up and stay forever. I may not say that. We'll wait. Andy Oxnard. Hey, Andrew, has the price of your isopropyl alcohol started to rise yet in the U.S.? In the U.K., it has more than quadrupled in price due to the coronavirus. It hasn't risen, but you can't find it. I can't find it at Walmart or Walgreens. I have to go to my farmer's co-op to get it and buy it by the gallon. It's like $1 more expensive by the gallon, but it's worth having. Plus, I'm loving the gallons. I may just pay more from now on just to have it. No, the coronavirus hasn't made people around here go crazy yet, but it's not in Tennessee. I mean, it's in Tennessee, but not in East Part yet. I'm sure that if I go to, like, it was just announced a couple of days ago that it's in Tennessee, and I'm sure if I go to Walmart, things will be crazy. But no, we are semi-preppers, so we have toilet paper and food and everything else that we can get whenever we need to. Micromax Farms, just wanted to say thank you for all your work. Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you. I I appreciate that very much. It's always nice to be wanted. It's over the counter. Okay, Josh. So you're talking. Okay, I'll go get some of that Flonase then. Try that. If you want to learn about MMS, search for Jim Humble. There are a lot of fake videos out there on MMS to suppress it. Okay, I'll check it out, man. I'll take a look at it for sure. Michael Mama, how could I contact you? Nancy says. Silver Leapers, tips for black pearl and chestnuts. I'm finding that chestnuts I just treat like oysters. We do the square cut. Jason and I have been talking about doing some trials for top fruiting them because I think he top fruited some or saw some that top fruited, or it was that the pins were all coming on the top, and he thought we should test that. So since he's wanting to test that, that's what we're going to do with our. We've been packing them regularly, and our first wave is starting to hit now. So those will probably be top fruited to go with Jason's. I'm really liking this, where my employees come in and they're noticing things and they tell me, and we're like, okay, let's just experiment with it and see how it works. And so we're going to try top fruit them and see how it goes. Black pearl, the tips for it, man, is just treat it like an oyster, as far as I can tell. If you want a more king-like appearance, I'm finding top fruited. If you want a more, I don't even know what to call it, man, like a big toadstool. It looks like a big toadstool mushroom with a huge cap. Side fruit that stuff. So it's a weird mushroom. It does all kinds of crazy phenotypes, like just amazing amounts of different phenotypes. Edgar still says it's on Hulu. Okay, I'll check it out. Dev's on Hulu. For sure, I'll check that out. David Cole says, good day, my friend. Wondering where you get your syringes. Also, have you looked at Eric Meyer's PID-controlled pressure cooker? It's changed the game for me. Way less babysitting, no flapper noise. So, I have checked that out. I've always been like, don't want to be near it. It seems like a bomb to me. Ben checked it out and was like, yeah, it seems like it's a good way to go. And if Ben says it's a good way to go, then it's a good way to go. That's I think Ben's getting into PID stuff now, so we may be looking at doing some of that stuff ourselves. If Ben says it's good, I trust him implicitly on that stuff. So, as far as where I get my syringes, probably the easiest place for you to get syringes would be Shroom Supply. You can get them from your local farmer's co-op. I get them from a veterinary supply store online. Order boxes by the hundreds and syringes, and I ran out of syringe caps. So I actually have a couple of orders that are waiting to go out right now, but I'm out of syringe caps. Until they get here tomorrow, I won't be able to make them. So just send out the last orders I can on liquid culture today. But as soon as those come in tomorrow, I'll be able to ship them out like the moment they come in. Nancy says, what size box? The box size I use is a 18-inch by 12-inch by 10-inch box at Uline, corrugated. I use the light corrugated. What do you think about adding to your LC some of the substrate that you will be inoculating onto? Pulverizing powder, straining and mixing into LC. Do you believe this will speed colonization? I think it's probably better to go to add some of that material into your spawn and let it get used to it there. Adding any solid stuff to your liquid culture, I find, even if it's pulverized, ends up causing the mycelium to stick together so well that it doesn't want to suck up into a needle oftentimes, and it gives it a good place for a mat to grow. So I don't like it. Nancy says, so you just give out 10 pounds free mushrooms? Yes. Let's see, Michael, Mama, your thing got held, so I just now shared it. But yes, Nancy, I give out 10 pounds of free mushrooms. I want him to have plenty to work with. I want him to put it on the menu for that week as a special, and I want him to get a sense for what that mushroom can do for him on his menu. So I just give it out for free. Like I do with this information. You guys, I spent a year and a half before this channel took off giving away free information, just hoping that it would pay off, hoping that you guys would recognize, and you guys may want to purchase from me because, for one thing, you're making me better, and then I get to make a better product and sell it to you. And, I've found that giving away stuff for free ends up really paying off so far. It's been paying off a lot, and way more than I used to. When I first started, I used to think, why would I share this information? I'm afraid somebody's going to start a mushroom farm right next to me, and Years and years in this business, I've always been helped by helping others. Type of restaurants to target: Italian, American, Oriental. So I have found that any of the Asian restaurants don't tend to want to do business with me. I think a lot of them have their own contacts already. A number of them don't really care about the quality of the mushrooms. They just want mushrooms. They want them at the cheapest cost. And then I have found Appalachian cooking, which is, making a big comeback here, like an Appalachian bistro, like hybrid cooking. Those guys want mushrooms like crazy. But Italian works really well. American cuisine is, if you have a chef who's willing to incorporate mushrooms into traditional American cuisine, then it's great. But a lot of American cuisine doesn't call for mushrooms. So French, Italian, bistro, pretty much any kind of fine dining works really, really well. You're very welcome, Juiced. I'm sure I butchered the name, but please know it wasn't on purpose. Silver Libra says, we use the sauna steamer too. We told Eric Myers about a very cheap one, 230 CAD, 6 kilowatt at 120 volt. That's nice. Yeah, we'll be getting we used to use the 9 kilowatt versions a lot. And then I liked having, we have a super chat. But I liked using the ones that been built because we could just get the parts at Lowe's and we didn't ever have to worry about it when the parts went bad. All right, let me prioritize this super chat, guys. Josh Ladner says, $5, keep it up. Okay, well, it's not a question. But thank you very much for the $5, man. I really appreciate that. That'll get me a nice Frenchy fry and peach tea with that burger I got earlier. So thanks, guys. Don't worry, that workout, that burger and that peachy tea and that Frenchy fry. Actually, I won't even do the Frenchy fry because of potatoes, but I'll do a sauce burger or something on the side. That'll be post-workout. So don't you worry. How much does your work take you away from home, both daily and monthly? So on Jim, it'll be, what do you mean, like travel wise or just leaving the house? Because those are two very different things. I travel regularly. However, I'm suspending all business travel for the foreseeable future. So unless I get paid to go on a consult, the only vacation I'll be taking this year is my clan vacation, where the entire, like my grandmother, aunts and father and mother, brothers, my kids, and etc. will go, and a bunch of cousins. That'll be the only one we do this year, just because I'm keeping my costs down as much as possible. In fact, I'll even be turning down paid consults on certain dates, because with that mentorship program we're doing here, I'm actually going to have to be here a lot more often. So as far as like my daily, you said both on the other side there. So as far as like my daily stuff, Samantha delivers twice a week. I sometimes do those, though she allows me to do lab stuff, live streams, that kind of stuff. That's pretty much it. When we go to the warehouse, it'll be taking me away from home every day, because I'll be working every day, and I do daily checks on my mushroom operation. So luckily, this new warehouse that we went and just signed on today, oh my gosh, I'm so in love with it, guys. It's the old farmers co-op in the town, built in 1958, and it's old, but it's got a lot of room, and it's got a lot of character to it that I really like. It fits in well, and it's right on Mossy Creek, where the other one wasn't anywhere near Mossy Creek, so it keeps up with the name even. So it'll be every day, because I'll just have to go do my checks. But if I don't have anything to do for the day, like on the weekend, I'll go in the morning, do my check, come back home, spend the day with my family. And, if I go on travel or something like that, which I said for the first year, I'm probably not going to do much of that. One of the employees will go and do the daily check. So. See, Sam Guns said, being the nerd I am, I remember a lot about D&D. Yeah, man, I get it. Bard plays music in order to cast spells. Rogue is the thief boy. Yeah, man, I used to love playing D&D. Anymore, I like strategy games. Like, I like StarCraft a lot. I like Apex. I like it when people are trying to kill me and I'm trying to kill them right back. So, let's see. Even Star says, MMS can kill the coronavirus. Okay, I haven't read anything about that. I don't know anything about it. I'll have to read about it again. Cadaver, I use 180 proof grain liquor with extra couple ounces of water. For instead of isopropyl, yeah, I like ethanol better. Ethanol is just so expensive, and we highly ventilate. We have our fan and everything set up to where our where we're working, alcohol blows out that way below where we're breathing typically. So I prefer using isopropyl just for the cost. Do you what the formula is for a specific column of water? Say 3/4 inch pipe in a carboy crazy straw. How tall or how much would equal 15 psi? I don't remember it off the top of my head. That seems like something I would just Google. Ben knows that off the top of his head. I know because I asked him the other day and he was able to tell me. Josh Ladner says, how often do we change the water in our humidifier tote or clean? Also, my game of choice has to be Elder Scrolls Online. Skyrim releases soon. Oh gosh, I love Skyrim too. Skyrim was a good one. Okay, so I like RPGs too. As far as your humidifier tote, once a week we drain ours, mist it with bleach, and allow it to refill. We just drain it with a shop vac. So, and then we would pressure wash it to loosen anything off the sides, make sure it's vacuumed out. Pressure wash the lid so that the underside, so there's nothing on it, that kind of stuff. So we just do that once a week. And if we can, I'm going to get reservoir totes to where we can pull it, clean it, drain it, clean it the way I talked about, let it fully dry for a week before putting it back in there. And I think that will help a lot with breaking any patterns of contamination that happen out of your humidifier. And yeah, man, with Skyrim, I always love Skyrim. I always love the bow. I use the bow every chance I can. But I did play as a mage this last time, and I gotta say, it's not bad being a mage. Magic is useful in that kind of world, huh? Okay. Miser says, it's been really nice listening again. As always, I have to leave on the hour. Oh, then you probably left. So maybe I can squeeze this in. I was wondering what your greatest catastrophe has been and how you overcame it. Much love. Oh, man. Oh, shoot. The kids are here, too. All right, guys. I'm going to have to finish this up really quick, and then we'll head on. So, yeah, there they are stepping off the bus. All right. My greatest catastrophe. There have been so many. One of the best or the hardest to hit days was when my incubation shelves collapsed because I was using plastic shelves. They all collapsed, and I lost thousands of dollars worth of mushroom grow bags because they all popped open and spread all over the floor. So it's going to get loud in here for a second, guys. The kids are coming in. You will find out how much of a buddy Ben is if he gives you the last square of toilet paper. That's true. For sure. Hey, AZ.
Hey, Daddy.
Welcome.
I would hug you, but you're doing a live stream.
No, you can hug me during the live stream here. I'm sorry. Love you.
Love you.
Sorry, guys. Actually, I'm not sorry, but what's up, Brody?
Are
you okay?
You're showing your face.
Okay.
Dad, you're showing your face.
It's all right.
Love
Love
you.
you.
Where's Collier?
He's at track, Hazelin. I'm going to go pick him up here in a little bit.
Where's Mom?
She's on deliveries. I need to finish this live stream, okay? Let's see. I just started to top fruit my chestnuts 2 days ago. Was curious as to the outcome. Funny you mentioned that. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people do it. I think that it works out really, really well. Let's see. David Cole. Top fruiting chestnut leaves a lot of space for huge pinsets, but you have to watch the surface doesn't dry out. I just cut the top open and leave the sidewalls. Okay, that'll be interesting too. I want to try that for sure. All right. Got a jet. Thanks for everything. Yeah, Ben, take care, man. On Jim says both. Oh, that was on the travel, yeah. What square footage of the new space and estimate per pound a week out of it? So, John, I don't have an estimate per pound a week out of it just yet. I ate one last night, Aislinn. Thank you so much for making that. The square footage of the new place is about 6,000 square feet. There's a fair amount of office space and lab space that I'm going to be growing into on that. And about 4,000 square feet of grow space, incubation space, and machine shop or fabrication shop for Ben. Yeah, Wayne, it is absolutely awesome. And oh, John, to go back to your estimated per pound of week, it's going to be something like 4 or 5 times the amount we're growing now. But the amount of spawn and liquid culture we'll be able to produce there, because I am planning on expanding those operations, will be pretty fantastic. And the incubation space means that I'll actually, like, we have access to 4 shipping docks. So I'll actually be able to start shipping out fruiting blocks to people. I've got a lot of requests for that, so which would be cool because it means we'll be able to do fruiting blocks with our strains. So it doesn't matter that they're $1 or $2 more expensive because it's it's something unique that you can't get anywhere else. Yeah, it's you're very welcome, and thank you for the congratulations. Yeah, Wayne, the B52 plates or B17 plate stirrer is going to be amazing for sure. Oh my gosh, guys, it's getting crazy. All right, here's the thing. I'm just going to shut it down now. It's going crazy. This is my mama. I'm going to answer. I want you all to have a very good day till the next live stream. Take care and keep spawning culture, y'all.